All right, for the bag tag 3D print project, you must change workspace units to millimeters. You better do that first. Workspace units here and millimeters, and that's it. Okay, you have to have an idea, a plan in place. What are you doing? Are you tracing an image and using that as a reference? Are you doing your own original work? What size is it going to be? Is it going to be more circular, square, rectangle? Look at the constraints. Okay, I've decided to do something that's more of a rectangle, and I'm going to be tracing a Cincinnati Reds logo. Before I do that, I need to have a reference of how big it's going to be, because when you put the image in here, you won't know. So I'm going to place a sketch here on my top plane, and I'm going to just draw a reference line. This is a construction line. If you do a rectangle, the maximum is 100. So I'm going to put this in. I'm going to put in 100 here. And I think the maximum you could have for your width was 50, I believe. I'm going to put 50. Okay. So I know that my shape has to fit within here. I don't have to do the whole rectangle, but let's just go ahead and do that. Okay, this is the maximum size if you're doing a rectangle. If you're doing a circle, it can be diameter 70. If it's a square, it could be 70 by 70. All right, now what I got to do is find an image that I like. I'm going to go on the internet. I'm going to type in Cincinnati Reds logo, and you will see there's different types of logos. Stuff with way too much detail, a 3D printer can't do it. Like this Reds guy here, there's no way the writing on his shirt is going to show up. I would even say the threads on the baseball aren't going to show up. The pupils in his eyes aren't going to show up. It's way too small, way too much detail. Think of a 3D printer as like if you were to squeeze glue out of a bottle. That's about how much detail you're getting. You're getting a thin strand of plastic, which is kind of like glue. When it's melted, you're not going to be able to get that fine detail. This Reds logo here would work. Those REDS would come out. This one here, it would work to a certain extent, but the threads on the baseball, the little tiny eyes, that kind of stuff may not show up. The tread on his shoe, that's not going to show up. So you kind of want to go with something a little bit simpler. I'm going to go with this one here. Okay. Now, when you right-click on these images, you're going to do Save Image As, and make sure it is either a PNG or a JPEG or a TIFF. If it's a HTML, it will not work. Okay, you're going to save this on your drive. If you go under this PC, you'll see your 32 drive. I'm going to go ahead and save it in my downloads. Okay, so going back into Onshape, I'm now going to, let me see if I can move this real quick. I'm going to click on this plus sign to insert an element. I'm going to choose import. And then I'm going to go ahead and find that logo I just downloaded, which was this. I'm going to do open. Now, it's going to show that it's loading it, but it's not going to actually appear in the workspace because you have to place it in the workspace. So as we were showing you here, I want my logo to fit inside here, so it's not too big. And I'm going to choose, this is the image. It says DXF on it. I'm going to do insert image. I'm going to choose the Reds one, which is what I did. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to drag it to the biggest I can get it. Now, this is really the biggest I can get it within parameters. Okay. So there's my image. Now, it's important when you trace this, you don't trace in the image. If I started tracing right now, that's what I'd be doing. Okay. This is my photo. I'm not going to draw on that. I'm going to place a new sketch on top. Okay. So let me go ahead and get my planes back because this is not recognizing as a full thing. Let me go ahead and put this on the top plane there. All right. And let's go ahead and hide those planes out of the way. All right. Let's go ahead and I'll start tracing. The spline tool works pretty well. If you want to get nice fine lines, with a bit of a curve to them. The spline tool, I'll tell you this, you have to go all the way around and reconnect or it'll vanish on you. It's like I have to go all the way around this whole thing back to the beginning here. If you don't want to do that, what you can do is double click and that will finalize it and then you can restart again. Okay. But if you don't double click, watch what happens when I don't double click. When I don't double click and I just go, okay, I'm done. Okay. It vanishes. You can see it vanished. Anyway, I'm going to go all the way around that. At some point, you're going to extrude. Now, let me show you. I'm not going to keep working on this. Let me show you one that I was kind of messing around with earlier. So this here, it's kind of what a bag tag might look like. This is circular, okay? Some of you might want to do a square, rectangle, or even some irregular shape. This part here is important. You got to get the whole diameter to what I specify and the width, the thickness of this ring part. If you don't do that, it's not going to work for a keychain. So if I go back to my sketch here, all I did is I just made a circle that was 75 millimeters, okay? And then I made another circle here on top and it overlapped. And all I did, and I'll kind of show you how I did this. Let me delete these here and kind of see what I did. Okay, let's say that this actually went back to what it was, which was fully connected. Fix that. Okay. So there's our circle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place a new circle. And this is for my kind of eye hook. Okay. And this is where you got to make sure you have the correct size. Okay. I'm going to make it big. It's not, this is way too big, but just for purposes. Okay. And then if I make sure I have my inside loop the correct size, again, this is way too big, but I'm just demonstrating here. What you can do is come in here with the trim tool, which is the scissors, and you can trim the overlap off. And I can trim that off and that off. Okay. And now I have one piece here. So then when I go to extrude it, and you'll see the extrude, you can have a maximum of, I think, 5 millimeters is what it said. Let me do extrude again because I kind of messed that up. Ornament base. Okay. I don't want to select this. So I just selected this part here, and I'm going to extrude that 5 millimeters. Okay, and now I've got my eye hook. Okay. Now, if you're doing an image, like that Cincinnati Reds logo, okay, you would have extruded the whole outside of that Reds logo, and then you can start doing your details inside here. So inside here, I can place a sketch, and I can draw whatever I might want. Okay, I was doing a tree on here. You can do whatever. On the back side, though, you're going to have your text, which is your name, phone number, things like that. So for here, I placed a sketch, and let me just go ahead and do another one here. I'm going to place a sketch on the back side here, and I'm going to choose the text tool, which is this one. Okay, when you draw your text box, you're going to have to reverse the image because if I don't, let me go ahead and just type in a phone number. This is not my phone number. I'm just going to make something up. Okay, you're going to see it's backwards. And when I flip it around, yeah, it's front that way, but this is the side that we're going to be reading it on. So you have to do that horizontal flip, which I showed you earlier before you type, and then that'll fix that. When you go to extrude in here, you can't just select this and expect it to extrude your letters. You have to come in here, and it's really kind of touchy. You have to come in, and when the letter itself highlights yellow, then you know you can select it. Okay. If everything turns yellow, like I just did there, that doesn't work. You can't do that. So you got to kind of just move your mouse around, and I don't know why. It's like there's little sweet spots here and there. Like right now, it's not doing it. Okay, but if I just move my mouse a little bit, okay, now the letter is yellow, I select. Okay, and it's going to show you what I'm going to extrude here. Okay, I'm not going to do all the letters, but it's just real touchy. You got to zoom in here, see, nothing's happening, nothing's happening. Ooh, right there, for some reason, that, oops, right there it selected the letter. I click, okay, it highlights it. Then you're going to extrude it, but we're not going to extrude it up. We're going to extrude down. So we're not going to add an extrude. We're going to remove an extrude. And I think in your directions it says 1 millimeter, at least 1 millimeter. Actually, I think it has to be exactly 1 millimeter, because if you go too deep, it's going to go through the other side. Let me go ahead and put 1 millimeter in there. And let's go ahead and change the direction on that. Okay, and so here you can see it's kind of got an engraved look. Let me go ahead and hit the green check mark. That's how you want your letters to be. You want them to go into the surface. You can't extrude too much. If you extrude too much, it's going to come all the way through the other side and mess up your image on the other side. So the overall thickness is 5. You can extrude maybe 1 millimeter in on this side, extrude 1 millimeter in on this side, and then that'll give you enough surface on the insides where it's not going to break through or anything like that. Okay, hope this video helps. It's kind of long, but I kind of showed you a lot of different things on how to get that going. I didn't have anything I was tracing here, okay, but I would have had my image first on the bottom part, and then I can trace here on top. So that kind of gives you an idea of how all that works. Hope this helps. Thanks.